What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/The Hardy Construction with your host, Comp, and
Han Solo.
Today's film is
The Invitation, 2015.
The Invitation, 2015, directed by Karen Kusama, written by Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi, starring Logan Marshall Green. Holy shit. Imeyatsi Corinaldi. See, this is why we need Donald Trump. Just kidding, everybody.
You scumbag.
I am
How
joking.
dare you?
Oh my god, Mikhail Huisman. Oof. Anyway, yes, and Aidan Lovecamp, Michelle Krusiek, Mike Doyle, Jordi Villouso. I almost want to say all the actors' names because everybody did a really great job in this film.
That guy David in the movie, the whole time I'm like, I know him. He's Dario.
I know, I've seen him. Yeah, okay, that's where I saw him from. Maria Delfino, Tammy Blanchard, Michael Huisman, the name that I just said before, Lindsay Burge, John Carroll Lynch, everybody's favorite Zodiac killer, Toby Huss, Danielle Camastra, and Trish Gates. We fit in two Republicans into this episode. So, The Invitation, directed by Karen Kusama. While attending a dinner party at his former home, a man thinks his ex-wife and her new husband have sinister intentions for their guests. Boy, oh boy, do they. So, about this film, The Invitation, how did I first hear about this? Because I was the one that made the suggestion this week. And you know what's funny? Like, you know how there's a lot of people...
You love your cults.
I do. And here's the thing, like... There's a lot of people that don't like the sort of new wave horror that's been coming out, sort of like the Babadook or
thoughtful, like actually intelligent. And
like there's something more than just slasher or horror stuff. Like they're trying to put something behind the horror of the horror in the film. And there's a writer named Bret Easton Ellis, the guy who wrote American Psycho, which I think is probably one of the actually like beginnings of sort of new wave horror, the fact that it was something deeper than a horror film in itself. But he doesn't like this sort of Babadook and stuff like that where horror is sort of explained. And this film isn't necessarily a horror film, but there's a palpable dread to it. But anyway, getting into it,
it gets into horror.
Oh, definitely. I definitely when I first heard of The Invitation, I was on some message board about films, and I got a very incorrect spoilery ending for this film because it was absolutely nothing to do with the movie. People were just like, "Oh, did you like The Invitation?" They weren't saying anything about it because I didn't know anything about it. I just saw the poster for it on some streaming site, and right. I was like, okay, it's an interesting poster. It's a guy, and you see a wine glass in front, and it's broken. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, "Oh man, the alien abduction scene, man! I didn't expect it that way." And I was like, "There's aliens in this film?" Because the trailer looked exactly. So all this time watching this film, I thought there was going to be some sort of alien shit going on at the end of the film. The whole time until I actually saw the film yesterday, I thought there was some sort of weird alien twist in it.
Imagine at the end, after the credits, you see like a gray come down or something.
But anyway, The Invitation is not about that. I highly suggest, if you haven't watched this film, you're just listening to just because you love our humor, that's probably not it. Yeah. But watch this film.
Don't listen to this. Watch the movie.
I'm very happy that we've been watching some newer horror films. I push more for new horror films than Danny pushes for more random and obscure kind of horror films.
Honestly, I think we've ran out of the classics and like the random obscure old ones, so we have to do new ones. I think we did some pretty good roll of the last couple of indie horror films, sort of like the last People.
They look like people, right? I would say that one is a great one, and then the Invitation, this one too. Karen Kusama, funny enough, like I've known of her name, and I realized she directed Jennifer's Body. Which is one of my favorite episodes of The Hardy Construction because Danny and Thea fight in it. Because Danny's, instead of reviewing it, Danny's just talking about how hot the girls are, and you can hear Thea get disgusted throughout the whole episode.
She's so disgusted with me.
And it's so fucking funny. But, she was famous because she first directed Girl Fight. It was a movie that kind of launched Michelle Rodriguez's career. That's a girl that you're in love with, right?
Yeah, I love Michelle Rodriguez.
I think Michelle Rodriguez has a larger penis than I do, and that's but she is very hot, though.
She's amazing.
She is great, and maybe I wonder if she could probably beat me in the face with her giant clitoris. I wonder.
Yeah, she could beat both of us up one hand each.
I'm sure of it. She just to go through Karen Kusama's career, she I guess she is sort of a genre director. which is very, I wouldn't say it's rare because we don't hear more about female directors, But after seeing this movie, I was like, I want to see her movies, because the way that this film was shot and the way it was directed, it's probably one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year already. Even though it came out in 2015, I just heard about it because I think it just got released. I was like, fuck, man, this is like masterclass directing. And
this is like a really, it really made you feel like emotional throughout.
Yeah, and it was shot so well. Like, I mean, let me look at if they have the. Well, let me go into the directors, into her filmography. Then I'll get into the DP work. But she's done stuff like Aeon Flux. I think she had come out with Girl Fight, and that was a movie that a lot of people, were like, "Oh shit, it's a female-led boxing drama." I never saw it. I always heard about it, and obviously Michelle Rodriguez got her start from it. And right into that, she sort of, since it was an indie film, she got into the big leagues with Aeon Flux, and that kind of fucked up her career a bit. Aeon Flux, if anybody remembers, was
horrible.
The movie itself, right? It was an animated series that was on MTV a while back, part of this thing. I think it was part of Liquid Television or Liquid TV or something like that on MTV. When MTV was cool and it had like weird television stuff on, it used to have this half hour.
And they actually played music at one point. Yep.
And Aeon Flux was this cartoon that was like this really super stylized. And I haven't seen Aeon Flux. I watched Peter Chung is a guy who's this Korean animator. I believe he's Korean. I could be wrong. He directed Aeon Flux, which is this really stylized sort of, it looks like European kind of comic book art, and it's like this girl from the future and doing shit like that. He also did this other show called Alexander, which was like a cyberpunk version of cyberpunk meets what's that mix of the future and the past,
steampunk
version of Alexander the Great, but it was like it had a lot of homoerotic undertones to the fact that
I never saw that. But that was during the time of, like, the head and all that kind of stuff?
Right, that's Aeon Flux. Alexander, I think it was called Reign the Conqueror. That's a fucking great show. I mean, it's just so super stylized, and I saw a couple episodes, and it has so much, like, all the guys are, like, really pretty looking, and they wear really scant clothing and stuff like that, but there's also women in the show, too, and you can tell who a homophobe is by watching that show, because I remember they played it at an anime festival, and one of the kids that were running the festivals, he was like, he was one of the kids running the show, and obviously he was so fucking bothered by anything that looked gay, he was loudly going, ugh, even though he was running the room, and he was like, "That's so gay," and he like actually canceled
it. People that
he
watch anime are they really can't afford to be that way, because there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, I suggest watching Aeon Flux and Reign the Conqueror. But going back to the Aeon Flux sort of fucked up her career. That was a movie that had who was that? Oh God, what is that South African actress? She's hot. She's Charlize Theron. And she was supposed to be the star. And that was like really one of the first tries, besides I think Lara Croft Tomb Raider, to have a female lead action film, and it just went right down the toilet. And from there on, her film sort of, she went into TV work, it went into the L Word, and she did Jennifer's Body, which is a film that I liked, but I didn't think it like held the the full way.
It's not on level with The Invitation, that's for sure.
Yeah, it felt like a weird version of a Joss Whedon episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, you know how that's like a sort of a
it's
weird,
silly,
right? But it was fun.
A silly movie.
But this film itself was so fucking good to me. The fact that I was like, holy shit, watching it, just so well put together. I couldn't believe, like, I was like, damn, like. I was like impressed by how much they look like people was, but this is fucking great. This is
yeah.
But this looks like they just obviously had a lot more money behind it. But anyway, so how does The Invitation start, Danny?
It starts with Will and Kira, the two main people. Two of the main people, driving to a dinner party of his ex-wife Eden, who's been missing for like 2 years or something.
Okay. And they hit a coyote on the way, and they
kill a coyote.
He's forced to. It was so funny because that part you could tell the budget, because you can tell they had some sort of like taxidermied wolf on the road, because the dog couldn't even blink its eyes, even though you can hear it like yelping. And he had to kill it with a tire iron, and they just get back into the car.
You know what's disturbing? I had to do something very similar like 2 days ago. Not with a coyote, but my dog, who you would never imagine is capable of such a thing, because she's such a dumb, wrinkly creature, caught a bird and like didn't kill it all the way and left it on the deck. So like I took a brick and I put it out of its misery
Holy Lord.
It was really upsetting because the thing was like clearly like breathing heavy and dying, and other birds were going.
How big was it though? How big was the bird?
It was like a sparrow or something. But other birds were going up to it, and like they all seemed upset. So I just killed it with a brick, and I felt really gross doing it.
Did you have to like? How long did your erection go away after it? Did you? Oh, okay, never mind.
I still have it. I had to go to the hospital.
He's like, sir, I have priapism. Like, why? I killed a bird and I loved it. So Will and Kira, Logan Marshall Green, when I was looking at him, I was like, because he has long hair and beard, and I was like, who does this guy look like? And I realized he looks like the actor that played Bane in the Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Rises.
He's actually in Prometheus. He's Charlie in Prometheus.
Yeah, this is why, because when I saw Prometheus, I thought that was Tom Hardy in the movie. This guy looks exactly like Tom Hardy for some reason to me. And I was like, what's Tom Hardy doing in Prometheus? And I didn't even know he was in it. And he wasn't in it, obviously. But this guy looks just like Tom Hardy with the long hair and the beard. Because that's how Tom Hardy looks in the fucking Revenant. And you're like, what's Tom Hardy doing in this movie? But anyway, Will and Kira, they get to this party and... to make it short, apparently this is what you learn throughout the film because this is a very slow film. But it doesn't feel slow to me. Like I was watching it last night.
Actually, it's awesome.
I was watching it last night. I was like, okay, because I looked as soon as I started playing. I was like, it's an hour and 40 minutes. Oh no, that's a Team America reference. But I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be an hour and 40. And I'm watching it. And I just watched it the whole way through, and. You only see snippets of why Will is at this house party and why he's sort of hesitant to go to this party. And what we do learn, we might as well just say it, but apparently he was married to the woman that still owns this house, who is Eden. Eden is now married to a guy named David, who is...
Dario Naharis. When he's not killing people and trying to impress the mother of all dragons,
yes,
he's killing his friends.
Yeah, and totally showing up the other guy. He's like, I'm fucking your woman. He's like, I always loved you. Anyway, who was that guy? I forget his name. Anyways...
Jorah Mormont?
Yeah, Jorah Mormont. So Will is there. Will used to be married to Eden. They had a son together, and they have this close circle of friends. David wasn't in the scene at the time. This was, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And apparently during a party, something happened where their son died in the middle of the party. It's not specifically stated what happened.
Oh, was it at a party? I thought it was 2 kids, one hit him with a baseball bat or something.
I mean, all those families were there, so I assume they're at a party at the house. Like, I think they were just partying, and the kids were playing with a baseball bat and hit him over the head or something. Okay. And I like how the flashbacks are done throughout the film. They're very, like, dreamlike. And it doesn't feel like the movie stops. It feels like you're still going through the film, like this total conscious movement and stuff like that.
And it was quick, too. It wasn't like dragging. It was like if you added all the flashback scenes together, it's maybe like 3 minutes of the movie.
Like when scenes when Will goes, he wants to look at his son's old room, which is now David's like study. It just goes into a shot of him laying into the bed, seeing where his son used to sleep. It's just really fucking well done for him. And I'm like, damn, man, like. Why are you see now why like Hollywood films like they only put their money behind big budget sort of blockbusters because
well, you know what, this movie only made less than $350,000 box office, so that just shows
that's fucking
you
ridiculous.
People don't appreciate like actual talent.
I think people just don't know about it because what happens if you look at it nowadays, like a lot of Hollywood studios, they put their money behind bigger budget films, like big blockbuster films. If you look at every movie that pretty much comes out, it's because they lose money on short independent films or smaller films.
Well, if they promoted these movies the way they promote like the Avengers or something,
right? But the thing is, you're guaranteed more money back on an Avengers than you would on They Look Like People or The Invitation, which is a sad thing.
There's nothing wrong with those movies. I love Avengers, like I love all that.
Right?
Stuff,
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
I know it sucks because a movie like this, like this is a film where I could watch it in the theater, and I might probably sound like a pretentious fucking asshole, but I mean it's a good movie. I like the way it looked, but apparently there's some people on IMDb that didn't like the film, maybe because of whatever the twist was or whatever. But there wasn't really a twist because
there wasn't a twist.
No, it wasn't. I was glad. I was like, but honestly, because I had that fake alien spoiler, I was glad I had that fake alien spoiler because I'm pretty sure I would have guessed this film the way through. Even though you saw my I
guessed it too, but then actually it did throw you off when what's the boyfriend's name when he left the message
David?
And then he showed up.
Choi.
When Choi showed up after, it's like, oh, maybe he's being paranoid. But I mean, there wouldn't be a movie if he was being paranoid.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you saw how my brain works. It was probably annoying as shit to you when we were watching They Look Like People, and I would just guess the plot point, and I was wrong like 90% of the time during the film. Which is, I'm a very horrible person to watch a movie with because I'll be like,
you do talk during movies.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. But in this one, like, plus poor Choi, right? He's late to a party, has to go to work, and then he comes back and then he gets shot to death. Could you imagine?
Yeah, he was better off being stressed out.
Just staying at work. Poor Choi. Anyway, so Will's at this party now. His obviously the child died, and he has never, I guess, gotten over it. And Eden, they must have, they obviously had a divorce, and I think she tried to kill herself because there was that one scene at the first flashback in the film is her like sort of, and it's very like cut it like really strangely, that her slashing her wrists and him trying to stop her, and I guess she tried to kill herself, and then they divorced.
Catch that? How did I miss that?
I mean, it's the first flashback. I was trying to figure out what was the deal with this. Imagery.
Oh, you know what? Actually, okay, I do remember. I didn't remember it. That's what.
Yeah, it was the first one that happens. So Eden is now remarried. I thought they were just boyfriend and girlfriend, but she's now remarried to a guy named David. She had been gone for 2 years, and Will hasn't had contact with any of his older friends. That sort of social circle that he had with Eden, which is, I think it was it Ty, Miguel, Ben, Claire.
Here's the thing, though. They keep kind of making it seem, and maybe I'm just missing something, but they kind of imply that like everybody there was somehow tied into this tragedy.
Well, they were at the party. They showed it in the flashback. They were all partying together.
Yeah, but they're not all. They haven't all gone through horrible traumas.
No, I think the fact that they were there that day, right?
So Eden just brought them because they represent like a sad moment in her life, so she wants to make them all.
Yeah, but that was also the machinations of that fucking cult that they were in. So the invitation, what it means is it's part of it's sort of a Haley. What was that Hale-Bopp Comet sort of Dune cult? Remember those guys?
Oh, it's like Jim Jones or something.
Sort of, yeah. It is very Jim Jones-esque. I also got a lot of that Hale-Bopp.
Well, actually, Jim Jones, they're all voluntary. This is like you're making other people that represent important moments in your life die with you.
Yeah, and there's also that sort of Charlie, what the hell is Helter Skelter? What the fuck is his name? Charlie Manson sort of deal. I know. And the reason why I said Hale-Bopp because it has a sort of small role for Toby Huss. Toby Huss is an actor that you've seen him in everything. He was the bald guy that was sort of the cult leader in the film.
Oh,
when you're watching
Joseph.
the video.
Yeah.
He's been in. Let me see what Toby Huss has been in. He's pretty much been in every film that's ever made. Yeah, you'd see him. You'd know him if you saw him. And anyway, so they all are at this party, and it's a nice mixed bag of friends. I can't remember everybody's name. There was the smart lady. The one that left early.
Yeah, she was smart.
There's the party Asian woman. There's the 2 gay guys. There's the fat guy.
The fat guy was, I liked him. I felt really bad when he died.
Yeah, because the fat guy was, I feel bad, I just called him the fat guy, but he was sort of just like the funny guy, Jay Larson, I think. He was Ben. Okay, that was Ben.
And Gina was the one that got barbiturated.
Yeah. You think that was they must have put a lot of... I think that was even worse than barbiturates. I think barbiturates, you just pass out. But
well, I mean, they had a whole thing of barbiturates. Why else would they have it,
So this group of friends, they obviously feel uneasy that Will's at this... not Will. They're sort of uneasy, but they're trying to... they're trying to bring it back to what it was. They're not the ones that threw the party. It was
depressing me. It was, making me sad. Like, one day I'm going to have that with all these people in my life that I've stopped talking to.
It's a very moody film, but David and Eden invite their old friends to this party, and Will, I guess he just, out of respect for his ex-wife, obviously the way he looks at her when they first see each other after 2 years, he's sort of like, you can still see that there's something there for her that he has inside him, and she totally looks like a newly brainwashed person, just the way that she's acting. She's acting
and
very
then
flat.
Kira, the girlfriend, Will's girlfriend, she wasn't friends with all these people, right?
Right.
Like she was kind of just going along for the ride.
Yeah, they just started dating. I guess they were in a newer relationship, but he loved her, so I assume he had been seeing her for a while.
Could you imagine though, like you go with your boyfriend who's like this like serious sad guy to see his ex-wife who's like
I'm sure he wasn't serious and sad before this. I'm sure he was a regular guy, and then this is when he was serious and sad, because you got to think he's probably a normal, as normal as possible, guy, and then coming up to this a week before it, then he was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta go back to the house where my son died and shit like that."
Oh, so I'm sure that's when it started. You think he was more or less normal with Kira before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I mean, like, there's only so much moodiness a woman can take, and Kira doesn't look like the type that she would take that much shit from anybody, just because of the, in the party when he was acting like a dick, and she was like, "We gotta get out of here," you know what I mean? Because that doesn't look like I don't think that she would fly with her, and I think he also, honestly, I think he moved up because she was cute. And she wasn't a fucking nut job. She's
not a psycho.
Exactly. But she's played by Imayatsi Cornealdi. Yeah, oofa. But she's a very good actor. Her role is more subtle because she's sort of like, imagine being you're like you said, you're being the girlfriend of somebody that just went through a horrific trauma, and he has to sort of confront it on this weekend party with all these people that used to be his friends that he hasn't seen in like 2 years. But the big twist, not the twist, but the big deal with this is that David and Eden went to Mexico. Was it New Mexico or Mexico? They must have went to Mexico for, I believe, 2 years.
Mexico. It was Mexico.
Mexico, right? They went to Mexico for 2 years, and they had a little friend with them. Was it Sadie, the name of that girl with the
Sexy
young
Sadie?
Yeah, the kooky girl, the very earth mothery girl. And what's bothering me is that bump on her forehead. I don't want to make her feel bad about it.
When you see people that act like that, you have to run. That's the rules of horror.
She was like, it was so funny because you first see her, and I didn't think it was this film was going to have any R. Obviously, the R-rated stuff is the violence towards the end of the film, but she's like pantsless in the very beginning of the movie, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, she's like a nude woman hanging out in the hallway, and he's looking at her.
If you ever see anything like that in real life, if you see a complete stranger naked wanting to fuck you, and then they're saying they're going to seduce you with their voice, just run. Just get out of there. Now, while you still can.
In reality, that is total opposite of what Danny would do. Or I would do.
I'd have a boner, but I'd be running and jerking it at the same time. My arms would be pumping with my body.
Sadie is a hippie woman that is guests of David and Eden in the house, and they also have another friend, Pruitt, played by John Carroll Lynch, who is the supposed Zodiac killer from the film David Fincher's Zodiac. And John Carroll Lynch is great. He was in The Walking Dead. Remember, he was the one that taught that guy karate powers. He was the cross-dressing. See, he wasn't transgender. He was cross-dressing brother on the who's that? The fat guy with the glasses that hosts The Price Is Right now. Oh my God, Drew Carey show.
Yeah.
And but he's great. But seriously, watching this film was like, John Carroll Lynch knows how to play a psychopath. Like, that guy is just like has a presence to him where you just do not want to like. Even in real life, I'm sure he's a sweet guy, but you just do not want to fuck with that guy because that guy has a presence on screen.
He looks like the dude from The Office, whose name I can't think of. He's like the obnoxious friend who.
The American one.
Yeah. Oh, traveling salesman guy.
But he is a very scary dude. Probably was him. Who knows? But he is sort of. When I first saw him, I thought, oh, he's a cult leader. He was the one that's teaching him. But no, he's just a friend of him, and he has a fantastic a delivery of what the hell is that called? Why am I forgetting my English language words?
What are you trying to say?
A monologue. That's what he says. He has a monologue in this film about
if someone said that to me, I'd be like, all right, see ya.
He has a confrontation he has with his wife that leads to his wife's death. That's like so well done, and you're like, fuck. That's why they hired them for this movie, because that motherfucker acted the shit out of that scene. Everybody pretty much acts the shit out of this movie. That's one of the reasons why this movie is really good, because it has an all adult cast, especially except for the little kid. That plays the son of Will in the movie. Everybody's an adult, and everybody's a really good fucking actor in this movie. Enough so that you believed everything that happened in this film. The only thing that I thought was a little, although some of the stuff like the reactions and staying around, like myself, if I was in this party, I would have left as soon as that video was playing. Because I'd be like, it reminded me. I had told you the story a while back, but on one of the episodes, like there's a scene where David and Eden these people are talking about the Invitation. The Invitation is this sort of religious sect, or this religious sort of, not a religious, but a sort of
the word cult
lifestyle.
Comes up, I don't care what they are. I'm leaving.
Right. You get a handle about half an hour or 20 minutes and half an hour into this film that it's a cult film. And something fucked up is going to happen. It always comes to a head. A cult movie. It always sort of ends the same way, but the way they get to it is pretty good. And David throws on this DVD, or he plays a file on his computer of a woman dying, and the cult leader, played by Toby Huss, Dr. Joseph, telling this woman that you're going to see your family, you're going to see so and so, and all your friends that have passed on before you, and the woman dies on screen. And rightfully so, Gina, she's like, did we just see somebody die? Because that's the same thing. I'd be like, dude, this is a fucking party. Like, what is this? I want to get out of here. Like, I would totally feel like if I just came to a party and I saw all my friends there, I'd be like, I gotta go. Like, which makes Claire the smartest person in this film.
Yeah.
There is debate.
She represents the audience watching the movie.
Yeah. She certainly represented what I would have done, but she reminds me of. There was a film called The Haunting. That was the one with Liam Neeson and stuff. In the beginning of the movie, this woman gets some sort of weird accident, slashes her face, and they're like two characters in the very beginning. When you look at them, like, oh, they're gonna fucking die in this movie, and they're like, I'm gonna take her to the doctors, and that's it. You never see them again. They just left the house. And like, those are the smartest motherfuckers that ever have been in a film because they got out.
I feel confident that I would escape anything in any of these movies, because I would, unless it's something unescapable, like It Follows or something.
Right.
No, even that I would get out of.
So people were debating on IMDb whether Claire actually survived or Pruitt killed her in a car. We never see outside because she does leave the party, but you don't know whether because Pruitt stops her car, and then Will is sort of taken away from the window to see what happens before you see anything after that, and Pruitt just kind of comes back. I assume she got away. I hope she got away. I almost went on Twitter to ask the screenwriter and be like, did Claire make it out alive?
Because she drove away, and
you don't know whether he had killed her in the car or something, but I doubt. I think once they put that red lantern up, that's when they started killing people, because they're not going to be worried about, a car driving off, because they're going to kill people and then kill themselves. So I don't think it's a real big fucking problem for them. Yeah. So I think I assume Claire got out, which is good for her. But I'm sure she was driving around, and all those fucking red lanterns would show you that everybody else got fucking killed. Whoever had their lanterns.
That's the thing. That's the only part of the movie that's maybe not fully realistic. Yeah.
What is that? Because there's so many invitation members.
Yeah. So, but it's not more like the idea of like what this whole neighborhood is people in this cult.
I don't know. I mean,
it's in L.A. And
yeah, it's in California, which is
people.
Yeah, which is close to California. So I assume it's sort of a play on the Scientology angle, where these people are all in this religion thing, and they're.
I mean, that dude does say that thousands of people from New York and L.A. You'd be surprised. So maybe a lot of people in this neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I think. I mean, there are enough. Like, listen, there's
only 8 actually. So in an entire city, that's actually, or like an entire neighborhood, that's actually not much.
Like, if you really think about Jonestown, what was that? 1,000 or 900? Or so, I think it was 900 something people. I could be wrong on that number.
I don't know.
That they were sort of forced to kill themselves, but I'm sure there was a bunch of them that took it, like took the cyanide juice. The kool-aid on purpose. They took it on purpose. The other ones was sort of forced at gunpoint. Yeah. But, I mean, there's people that do it. They do believe it. That the Hale-Bopp Comet people killed themselves, So, I mean, there are people that do believe in this sort of doom cult. I was just listening about that Japanese cult, the ones that release sarin gas, in the trains and shit. Like, they're death cults. Like, people that actually do this shit to further their cause.
They just kill themselves and spare us.
And that's the point, but I think that they want, like, it's almost like, when...
They're lonely. They're scared.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with, like, a lot of, and I don't want to get into a whole religious thing, but there's like, when people preach to you on the train or something like that, and they're preaching loudly, and, it's like, what the fuck do you care if I don't believe...
They're trying to convince themselves.
Right. And well, I'm not going to say that. I'm just trying to say that they're trying to save or salvage souls, right? Yeah. But why? I mean, if you're going to go to heaven, do you think that you're going to lose?
Because in their religion it says that it's their duty, like their
okay.
religious duty to convert other peoples and save their souls from burning in hell.
So that's a weird thing about here. The conversion here is like obviously you're gonna kill your friends, and then you kill yourself, and that's the end. Like you'll see your friends,
this
but
is more
like,
hey, let's all go be together in the afterlife.
Right, but it's a very selfish way of sort of taking people out, because if you're going to see these people after death, you'll see them eventually, right? So what is the point of killing them? So that's the point where it's sort of like, what? I don't understand it. Like, you're going to see people again after they die, right? So why kill them to be with them now if you're there with them right now? That's all. I don't understand. Anyway, that's sort of that's the sort of illogical reason with a doom cult. So anyway, so it all comes to a head. I mean, there's sort of stuff like when Ben offends Eden, like he makes a joke about some sort of cult thing, and she slaps him in the face and then goes away. And I was like, I would have been like, well, fuck you, I'm out of here. You know, I've been slapped by people before, and I'm like, okay, get out of here. You know, you're like, what the fuck? You know, nothing ever has to come to violence and shit. But, you know, that's like if you're a real pussy. But I guess he's sort of like whatever.
Well, I mean, that was just a warm-up.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a... Oof. So, I mean, throughout the whole night, Will is kind of going around the house, and the house looks foreign to him and stuff like that. You know, it just does... there's a dread in this film, because the way Will is treated in this film is like you don't know if he's paranoid about something, and I mean, I've always felt Will is right, just because of the fact that it's a genre film. The protagonist is mostly right.
Well, he does come off as a little... I thought there was going to be a twist that maybe he was a bad guy or something.
Yeah, like, I get it.
Kind of like that, he's not a bad guy, but in, actually I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. I won't say what I'm going to say. I was going to say another movie the movie we reviewed, they look like people...
Oh, like, okay, right.
There is a bit of a twist in that you don't realize at first.
So Will is sort of like this protagonist, but since it is sort of this genre, it isn't outrightly a genre film. It feels like more of an ensemble thriller / It's
like a drama fucking horror in my mind.
Yeah, and Will is, you know, we're with him.
Not funny. No comedy.
We're with him. There's like no comedy in this. Even Ben, like he's saying jokes, but it's almost like you're too nervous during this film because you have no idea what's gonna happen. And Will throughout the film, because there's a fantastic freak out scene that he has before the final freak out scene, where he's like, you know, he's trying to figure out what the fuck happened to Choi. Choi is this guy who gets a phone, like and of course, a good thing, a thing that now every film has to do is find a reason why you can't make phone calls in a movie, because you know, in real life people would be tweeting that they were in this party. They'd be like, oh, hashtag whatever. They'd just be saying that. So now they have to find a way for them not to have reception on their phones, and their landlines are all fucked up. Obviously, they must have done that on purpose to fuck up the phone so they wouldn't be able to call anybody outside of this house. And Will gets an old message from Choi saying, "Oh, I'm at the house," and which freaks him out. So he has a whole big scene, and it's just done really. Like, I mean, his acting is so fucking. I mean, the whole movie's good. Like, I mean, I can't really think besides those sort of illogical things where the girl slaps him and he's sort of whatever, or you know, they see a person die on screen. Like Claire, there should have been 4 or 5 more Claires in this film, like getting the fuck out of there. Because I would be like, listen, this is too awkward.
Well,
like,
I understand why Will stayed, and I understand why his girlfriend stayed. It was for like a self-healing thing. That was kind of what it was for all of them, though. They were all trying to reunite and deal with it.
And poor Miguel and his boyfriend. Which one was his boyfriend? His boyfriend was, I believe, was it Ty? I think I couldn't. I don't know. Well, anyway, Miguel and his boyfriend.
Names I forget.
But there you go. It was a nice cavalcade of people of color in this film, and all ethnicities and sexual backgrounds. So that was nice. It was like a Bennington.
It's
ad.
LA,
it was
man.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice. That's true. And so I mean. I like the interactions between all the characters that were between the characters realistic, except for, you know, when the cult stuff, like you and I said, it's small, but that's like it's such a nil sort of nitpick thing, because it is a film and characters have to make stupid decisions to keep the
and they're in LA and people are weird there.
Oh yeah, that's something that the character brings up. He actually says, "Yeah, it's Los Angeles. You know, people are weird." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess that's right," because that is from people that I know that have actually moved to Los Angeles or California, they do think it's a fucking weird place over there, because we're from New York, so
yeah. I mean, people People in New York are angry and aggressive. People in LA are weird.
That's basically in a nutshell. That's how you see how these two. And then then you see people in the Midwest are really nice. And when I went to the Midwest, people were nice. People in the South,
they're nice.
Want to kill you.
They live like in an alternate reality where they're freaked out by certain things that wouldn't freak out anybody here.
So right,
that was my experience.
So I mean, it is one of those films where it sort of has a predictable outcome, where you're like, it's unpredictable and predictable at the same time. Once you hear the cult angle, you pretty much know where it's going to go, because they drop enough hints, like, oh, Charlie Manson, they bring up his name. Obviously, the leader of the cult looks like the leader of the Hale-Bopp fucking Comet suicide cult, Doom cult. Mm-hmm. He looks like that. I mean, like, you're watching, you're like, okay, we've got enough of those sort of archetypes from reality to know what's going to happen, that something bad is going to happen towards the end. But the ride there is so good, to me at least, that I didn't give a shit about. I mean, I thought that helped the film, like, because it had such sort of like these
honestly,
iconography.
Even if nothing happened and they just went home and that was it, I still would have liked the movie.
Yeah, because it's a good film and it's just paced so well for a long film. A long film, you can pace a film like that, and there's just long sections of fucking boring shit.
There was no point where I was bored. Like, there was no point.
Absolutely not. I thought it was like one of the best films I've seen, like maybe ever. But that's just me.
I'm not gonna go that far because it's not my type of movie generally. But
right.
For what
I like characters that are fucked up. That kind of thing. I like characters fucked up and interacting.
Extreme gore and demons ripping out of people. So that's more my thing. But
it sort of had not extreme gore, but it had some good gore.
I like humor. I love humor. But like this, for what it is a great. We should rate it. You want to rate it?
Whoa. Let's get towards the end. Hold on a second. Jesus. Okay. But the cinematography done by Bobby Shore. I gotta give that guy fucking a heads up. I don't know. I haven't seen any. I don't know if there's anything else that he's done that I know of. But Bobby Shore should get a fucking thumbs up for his cinematography. Is he
Pauly Shore's alter ego?
That's what it is. And he goes, "Buddy," while he was filming. Let me read this in trivia real quick. 3 trivias. The director and writers had complete creative control in the film. You're kidding me. As it was independently produced without any involvement from agent. Who wrote? What kind of trivia is this? Get out of here! All right. Zachary Quinto, who was Spock from the new Star Trek films. Luke Wilson, who is some guy. And Topher Grace were originally cast in major roles. I'm glad they weren't in this film because they would have probably stuck out. In Spain, was released in 15 theaters. I guess they didn't have any good fucking trivia for this movie. Other than that, what did you think of the whole last 15 minutes of the film where the shit hit the fan?
Oh, it was fun. I liked it. I mean, it was exactly what I was expecting.
It was nice. It was nice, palpable, insane anarchy towards the end of the film. I felt bad for Gina. I felt bad for Choi.
I felt bad for Eden.
Why? Fuck her. She invited these people.
I know,
she went so crazy she lost her. Nah, I didn't buy that shit.
It's a person whose kid died and she snapped. That sucks.
Right.
I didn't feel bad for Dave. I didn't feel bad for the husband.
Pruitt and David.
Pruitt and David. I didn't feel bad for them, even though I guess
Sadie.
They probably have. But I felt bad for Eden because she was so clearly fucked up.
Well, that's true, but still fuck her. Because without her, they wouldn't have all those people were because of her, basically. They all got invited because of her, not because of the boyfriend.
Yeah, but she regretted it, though. You could tell.
She shot him, and then she regretted it. She could have regretted it before shooting Will. But another way, I thought it was a really nice... She didn't. And people were wondering what happened to Sadie, and they were like, "Oh, how did she get killed?" And I was like, "You can see a bullet hole through her chest." I mean, there were people like, "Did you drink the fucking?" I'm like, "No, you saw what happened."
Sadie's the
crazy blonde, the one that was that was stabbing. I guess what was weird, I don't know how that other guy, I believe his name was Ty, the gay guy that survived. I didn't know whether he had got slashed I thought he got stabbed to death, but I guess she must have just slashed him and then left. It was very weird because they were shooting people. Which was weird too when they take out Pruitt goodly, with a fucking wine bottle over the head. I didn't know if she had killed him and just knocked him out, because I was waiting for that horrible horror cliche where he'll pop out of the shadows and be the final.
Honestly, if you hit someone that hard 4 times in the head with a fucking blunt object, they're either gonna die or they're gonna have a concussion or something at least.
Yeah, and he was feeling it. You can see him; he was feeling it. He was like, ugh.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, it was good very good acting, very good death rattles on him. He was a very good actor in that scene. But I liked it. David got fucked up. Good for him. 3 characters survived. I was almost just thinking. I won't say who they are, but I'm sure this movie's spoiled. Whatever. The characters I like.
I was glad that other guy survived too, because it would have been very cliche to make only the 2 boyfriend and girlfriend survive. You know.
Right. I liked it, but then it also had, for some reason, the ending to me mirrored the ending of Fight Club. For some reason, just because it was 2 people looking over destruction. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell you, until the last 15 minutes, I swear to God, I was expecting like when he looked off the coast. I swear to God, I thought they were going to show. I thought they were going to show UFOs coming down. I couldn't believe I fell for that fucking shit that they said. But I was glad that I was completely thinking of something else. But I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. I liked it that much. 9 out of 10. Waiting to raise a glass. And then smashing that glass out of your friends' hands, yelling at them, and then having a crazy woman attack you, where you rightfully defend yourself, but are probably seen as a misogynist for making her hit her head on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna give this a, for what it is, for cult movies that are serious, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. For my personal taste, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 or something. But yeah, okay, let's say 10 out of 10 for people who are into this type of thing. 10 out of 10, allowing your son to get beaten or killed by a baseball bat, and therefore indirectly killing all of your loved ones.
Here's the thing, you know what happens? It was a Mexican themed party. The kid was wearing a colorful shirt. I bet you his little friend thought that he was a piñata. It was just really fucked up. It was wrong.
And then he pulled all his brains up off the floor and tried to eat them like candy.
And surprisingly, some fucking sugar sticks fell out of the kid's head. That was what's crazy about it.
That was the real surprise.
I thought it was. I love the movie. There's like 2 ways to look at this. Like ABCs of Death with the cult film. That was. I'm not ABCs of Death. VHS 2 that had that cult thing.
That was
that was super stylized and crazy and kinetic sort of film fun. This is like a different sort of film where the dread is the scary equivalent, but it does have that payoff towards the end.
Yeah, this is not for people that want to see like exploding cars and shit.
This is a good character study film where you get to learn piece by piece what's really going on with the bigger pictures, and it's very spooky and it's very dreadful. Before we get to anything else, you can follow us on Twitter at Twitter Horror Decon Show, and we're on Instagram even though we haven't posted yet. You can find us Horror Deconstruction on Instagram. Yeah. So Danny, with that, what's the final word?
Solo hand.
The Horror Deconstruction.